This is DG Vision Network.
Hello everyone, this is DG Vision Network with Bayero Agabi, and I'm your host for today, Prince Lee Momodu.
This is DG Vision Network.
If you're looking to get the latest and the best from the world of ICT, business, lifestyle, and innovation, then congrats to you, because DG Vision Network is the right place to be tuned in. You can also log on to www.dgvisionnetwork.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/dgvisionnetwork for more.
This is DG Vision Network.
Today's edition is going to be a special one for women. As we all know, March 8th was International Women's Day, and we're looking at how we can help break gender bias as we celebrate women all over the world. We'll also be looking at how NIPO's Express Mail service is improving service delivery, and our guest of the week for today is Usman Mala, the Director of Human Capital Administration for NCC. But first, here are trending issues that made news during the week. The Director General of the National Identity Management Commission, Aliyu Aziz, says the National Identity Number, NIN, should become a mandatory requirement for accessing government services. He said this while requesting the support of the Bureau of Public Service Reforms, BPSR, last week in Abuja. The Director General led a delegation of NIMC's management on a visit to Dasuki Arabi, the Director General of the BPSR, where he made the appeal. Aziz expressed NIMC's gratitude to the BPSR for enabling the adoption of the NIN in JAMB's Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination and the issuance of travel passports by the Nigerian Immigration Service, according to NAN. Aziz also added that NIMC has developed a mobile app with which members of the general public can access vital information about their NIN enrollment and printout. The Nigerian Communications Commission were at hand at the 2022 edition of the African Next Conference, formerly known as Social Media Week, to inform, educate, and draw support for the Commission's stride on the preparedness for Nigeria's deployment of the fifth generation network 5G. The NCC session, which was themed Moving Forward Steadily, Socio-Economic Significance of the Deployment of 5G Services, drew the largest attendance and participation at a single session during the conference and had experts from the Commission explain different issues arising from the deployment of 5G, including benefits, technicalities, safety, and policies.
The best technology known to man in use right now, fixed technology that can transform big data, is fiber.
I think in 5G there's something for everybody, not just individuals, not just the networks. But if we look at it this way, for us as individuals, of course, like the enhanced mobile broadband is something that will appeal to us a lot in Nigeria.
Different technology. So it's an evolution of an old one, or enhancement of an old technology, but smartphones now, for instance, for the frequency we are going to deploy, which is in the C-band in the country now, in the nearest future.
Usman Aliyu, head of space service at the Commission, while speaking with the press at the event, noted the benefits of 5G will cut across every sector of the economy.
It will bring a lot of opportunities to our startups, our techs, even security, in terms of cameras, the backhauling, entertainment, live broadcasts, and all that could be done.
Speaking on when Nigerians can expect the rollout of 5G's network, Engineer Babagana Digima, team lead Nigerian office developing the indigenous telecom sector, had this to say.
The licenses we have issued for 5G will enable that to be achieved starting 6 months from now. You will start seeing the deployment of 5G in cities in all the geopolitical zones, 2 states at least in each geopolitical zone. And by this time next year or upper year, you will see additional 4 states in each geopolitical zones. And before the 10-year period of the license, 100% of Nigerian cities must have been covered by 5G.
Omoni Ibitan, head online media, NCC, and moderator of the session, spoke on the choice of the Commission for the African Next as a platform for the continuous awareness on 5G.
Africa NXT is the largest gathering of innovators across Africa, as well as innovators of African origin or friends of Africa in the diaspora. So if this gathering is about innovation, it stands to reason that NCC has to be there as the regulator.
The African Next Conference is the largest assembly of innovators from across Africa and Africans' diasporan communities focused on harnessing Africans' potential for her development using dual agencies of human creativity and the promises of technology. Facebook, Twitter, and Google have made moves to prevent their platforms from being weaponized by purveyors of misinformation about the crisis in Ukraine. Meta, Facebook's parent company, has announced a new special operation centered staffed by experts, including native Russian and Ukraine speakers, to monitor the social media network 24/7 to respond to issues in real time. The company also added features in Ukraine and Russia to help users protect information in their accounts. In addition, Meta stated it's taking extensive steps to fight the spread of misinformation by beefing up third-party fact-checking in Ukraine and Russia and providing more transparency around state-controlled media outlets. Twitter, too, announced steps to protect users during the crisis. In a series of tweets, it announced it was actively monitoring for risks associated with the conflict in Ukraine, including identifying and disrupting attempts to amplify false and misleading information. Meanwhile, YouTube, which is owned by Google, announced it was preventing some Russian companies, including state-operated news outlet RT, from making money off videos posted to the streaming video service, as well as restricting access to RT and some other channels in Ukraine. You are still watching DG Vision Network, your one-stop for issues on ICT, business, and innovation. International Women's Day, celebrated annually on the 8th of March, is a day that commemorates the social, political, and economic achievements of women. The theme for this year's celebration is Break the Bias, and as we celebrate women, let's take a look at the day that has shaped society by highlighting issues that have affected women for years in Nigeria and what can be done and what is also being done.
International Women's Day is a global day for celebrating the social, economic, cultural, and the political achievements of women. The day also marks a call to action for accelerating gender parity. Significant activities are witnessed globally as groups come together to celebrate women's achievements or rally for women's equality. Marked annually on March 8, International Women's Day, popularly referred to as IWD, is one of the most important days of the year to celebrate women's achievements, raise awareness about women's equality, and lobby for accelerated gender parity. In some cases, raise funds for female-focused charities. The International Women's Day website announced that this year's theme is Break the Bias. The organization is calling on people to imagine a gender-equal world that is free from biases, stereotypes, and discrimination against women. The UN's theme is Gender Equality Today for Sustainable Tomorrow. It is focusing on advancing gender equality in the context of the global climate crisis, continuing to examine the opportunities as well as the constraints to empower women and girls to have a voice and be equal players in decision-making related to climate change and sustainability is essential for sustainable development and greater gender equality, the UN said.
We need more women, environment ministers, business leaders, and presidents and prime ministers. They can push countries to address the climate crisis, develop green jobs, and build a more just and sustainable world. We cannot emerge from the pandemic with the clock spinning backwards on gender equality. We need to turn the clock forward on women's rights. The time is not.
Back home, it is noted that there is extreme bias and discrimination against women in Nigeria by federal legislators at the recent plenary session, during which they voted on 68 bills seeking to amend the 1999 Constitution. The legislators, which boasts of 95.5% men, voted against bills seeking to end gender discrimination in the Constitution, such as citizenship for foreign husbands of Nigerian women, statelessness of married Nigerian women, 35% affirmative action in party administration and leadership, 35% political appointment positions for women, diaspora voting, etc.
How do you explain that a Nigerian man can afford indigenship to his foreign wife, but a Nigerian woman can't do the same to her foreign husband? Meanwhile, we have a number of our men who have traveled to the Western countries and their wives afford them citizenship.
The action of the federal legislators speak volumes about the rollback Nigerian women are experiencing in promoting and protecting their rights in achieving gender equality and equity. Nigeria cannot make progress without its women and girls, a belief the wife of Muhammadu Buhari, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, shares.
To peacefully observe the proceedings of constitutional review about women, and also to listen to the proceedings also concerning the 35 affirmative action about women and special additional seats for women in the National Assembly.
This year's theme, Breaking the Bias, is a wake-up call and places responsibility on society and the world as a whole to call out various forms of gender bias, gender stereotypes, and inequality in society and work towards addressing them. Professionals support the motion that there is need to stop the bias and stereotypes at the corporate level.
Generally, corporate entities honestly need to look at the fact that they need to give women a chance. If you find that if you want to choose, if there's an opening and you want to choose between them, two people are contesting for that opening, a senior position, and one is a male person, the other is female. If the CEO of that corporate entity is a man, sometimes in African culture, he would tend to go with the male than the female. Outside the whole world, then more like the international community, that is not a big deal in terms of maternity, but it's a big deal that you're female. The male will get the job. So we basically just need a total overhauling, like you said, of our male gender mindset, because forget anything anybody else is saying. It is still a male world when it comes to the corporate system.
Continuous effort has to be made to emphasize that women should exercise their rights fully, use their voices freely, determine their life outcomes, and live their lives free from intimidation, harassment, and violence. It is believed that it is only when this is done, the world can be a better place without gender bias.
EMS is an international express postal service offered by Postal Administration member of Universal Postal Union. Coming up is a special report on NIPO's repositioning of EMS to improve service delivery.
The Express Mail Service, otherwise known as EMS, is an international express postal service offered by Postal Administration members of the Universal Postal Union (UPU). It was set up following the decision of the body at its 1984 Congress in Hamburg, Germany, for member countries to set up courier service as a direct response to the incursion of private courier companies into the traditional domain of the post. As of 2021, EMS was offered by more than 20 countries and territories worldwide. In most nations, it is governed by the country's own postal administration. In Nigeria, the EMS, which started operations in 1986, is the courier arm of the Nigerian Postal Service with the responsibility for effective and efficient collection, conveyance and delivery of time-sensitive correspondence, documents or merchandise both locally and internationally.
You know, EMS is a household name in Nigeria, and it is synonymous with Nigerian Postal Service itself. Actually, Nigerians say Nigerian Postal Service. When you mention Nigerian Postal Services, it connotes a lot of things to a lot of people. A lot of people look at it from essentially a government infrastructure that is expected to provide service for the people and attend to the quest, attend to the need of the public as a public sector infrastructure. So to a large extent, people does not look at the competitive nature of the environment under which EMS is functioning as a courier firm. And looking at the competitive nature of the environment is comparing us with other players in the ecosystem who are privately oriented and accessible to every bit of technology that are needed to be able to compete competitively. Therefore, if you view us from that angle, you will see that it is not very, very easy for us. It is not very, very easy for us in the sector. But be it as it may, we are making our mark.
With the recent efforts by the Federal Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, championed by the Honorable Minister Professor Issa Ali Pantami, on measures to unbundle the Nigerian Postal Services, such steps, which includes the operation of its logistics, career and properties amongst other ventures, there is optimism that the government-owned courier service will be revamped to become more competitive.
We are in the process of NIPO's transformation, and transformation will not be possible without digitalization. There is a core mandate of NIPOS. What we are doing today is to ensure that we integrate NIPOS to be able to be digitalized so that they can deliver their services by implementing their own mandate, which has been established by law.
Given the impact of technologies and the changing dynamics in different business operations, EMS Nigeria says it is also adopting innovative solutions to deliver a competitive edge in order to have a fair share of the rapidly growing e-commerce and logistics sector of the economy. This, the General Manager says, is of priority despite its primary responsibility as a social service operator committed to customer service satisfaction.
And if you see the reform that the government has actually done with respect to the unbundling of NIPOS, with the creation of the new companies, the subsidiary companies, NIPOS Properties, NIPOS Transport and Logistics, we see that all of these are tailored towards making NIPOS more commercially viable, able to undertake its businesses with within the resources that it's able to generate, and of course over time NIPOS should be able to stand alone.
I am Ragabi, welcoming you to this new ride, a digital ride that takes you into the lifestyle experience of innovation, tech impact and new business frontiers. This is DG Vision Network. On a weekly basis, we keep you well informed of developments and trends. Now the tech ecosystem is impacting politics, business, public and private enterprise management, plus how the new digital life can transform your business. I am Bayero Agabi. Join us.
Thanks for staying with us. Up next is our guest of the week, Husman Mala, the Director of Human Capital Administration of NCC, who speaks on the inner workings of the Commission in achieving its objectives.
The Directorate of Human Capital and Administration of the Nigerian Communications Commission is one of the critical departments in the NCC. The 8-point agenda of the current leadership under Professor Yuji Dambata dwelt so much in item number 8, that is the 8-point agenda on operational efficiency. And what that entails is that the human resource of the Commission and then the physical assets, I mean the infrastructure of the commissions, are two critical factors that help in assisting the Commission in carrying out its regulatory function as enshrined in the NCA 2003. What we do is here we manage the very dedicated, well-professional manpower. And what we do is that we ensure that they are placed appropriately in departments according to their skill sets. And what they do in such places, we monitor them. We ensure that manpower, training and retraining of the workforce is a paramount importance. And since the arrival of the professor-led administration, the issue of training has been emphasized, and it has been a tradition within the Commission to train our workforce at every level, from local to international level. And then the other important activity of the department, which is staff welfare, which includes annual promotion. Since the arrival of Professor Yuji Dambata in NCC, we have achieved a feat. When I mean a feat, it's a record time that from 2016 to date, we conduct annual staff promotion, which has not been the case in the past, and this has been a record now. In the past 6 years, the exercise has been consistently being carried out. Deserving members of staff are promoted to their various levels ahead. I think one of the cardinal activities of the Human Capital Directorate is the manpower development and training. Training is a very, very fundamental and key activity of the NCC. Over the years, it has a history. You can't regulate an industry as dynamic as ours, and you can't sit back and allow the industry to have more knowledge than you, the regulator. So we have put in place a deliberate measure whereby training at every institution, however distant from our location here, we ensure that staff are exposed to all the global best practices in the telecom industry. And our staff, you can say it from all aspects, either legal, regulatory, technical services, communications, and what's abuse. We have been trained and we continue to do the training. Even with COVID last year, towards the end of the year 2020, last quarter of 2020, we were able to create an opportunity for staff to go on their local trainings. And this has been the position of this management, and I think we can not say much without appreciating the efforts of the EVC, who has consistently indicated that we can't continue to lag behind the industry, the very dynamic industry we are regulating. You are right, because they are the one that are driving the process. We are regulators, we put eyes on what they are doing, and therefore we need to have that knowledge, we need to have that expertise, we need to have those set skills to ensure that they deliver on their assigned responsibilities under the licenses they have taken. So UG Dambata came on board in 2015, August 2015 specifically, and since his arrival he came with a huge experience from university education, as a teacher in technology, as an expert in our digital institute, DBI, Digital Bridge Institute, where he served as vice president. So when he came in and just walked through what he is already exposed to. He knows what are the challenges on ground, what are those things he will do or he brings to bear that can improve on where we are then. And I think the first thing he did is that, you can't start an administration without a proper roadmap. And that's how the now revised 8-point agenda came. And that 8-point agenda covered the entire activities of the Commission from start to end. It has not left out any aspect of our activities. And the 8-point agenda has covered virtually every sphere of the activities of the Commission. And therefore, without roadmap, you cannot start a process. And today, after 5 years of putting that 8-point agenda to work, which has now been revised and it has become 5-point agenda, the statistics are there to show. He met a subscriber number at below 130 million. Today we're talking of 200+ million subscribers. Penetration when he arrived roams around in 2015, roams around 6 and 9%. As at December 2020, we are over 40% penetration. What all these statistics, what it shows is that today Nigerians are more exposed to telecoms from all nooks and crannies. People will have access to telephony services, people will have access to data services, and therefore the impact since the arrival of the Professor Eugene Dambata administration has been huge. In the area of collecting revenues or dues from these operators to government, it has been an impressive upsurge. Over 300 billion has been credited into the government accounts from the operations of these operators that we pretend. And again, in the area of more licenses, more spectrums being refarmed and developed, and so much has been achieved under 5 years of Professor Eugene Dambata's first tenure in office.